It's time now for Media Watch, and I'm joined by Emma James. Hi there, Emma.
Hi there.
It's our top story, and it's your top story to the visit to the United Kingdom by the US President Donald Trump. And not surprisingly, it's got people out on the streets and it's got people tweeting.
Yes, absolutely. It's estimated that 100,000 people are going to turn out across all the different venues that he's visiting in the UK during this 4-day visit. Of course, the official part's now over. And one of the things that people were outraged about and talking about online today is the fact that he was getting to meet the Queen, because some felt it was inappropriate. The state visit had been scaled down. It wasn't quite as grand as that, but he still got to meet the Queen. One of these spoof accounts claiming to tweet on her behalf, which of course isn't true. Elizabeth Windsor said, "Tell him one's not in." And you've got the photograph there of her peering around the net curtains. Placide, the cartoonist as well, had this take on it, that she was in for a bit of a rough ride meeting Donald Trump. It does appear as though he didn't really flout too many protocol rules. A couple. He was late turning up. That was probably the worst.
Bow.
He didn't bow, and apparently he got in her way at one point. But apart from that, everything went swimmingly. It could have been far worse. Have I got news for you? The British comedy show has this to say. As Donald Trump makes his way to Windsor Castle, the Queen gives one member of staff a special assignment. And of course, that is James Bond in her wake. This person saying, "You mean this one? Donald Trump, ma'am, make it look like an accident, 007. Now, one other thing that's interesting to note is that, yes, Donald Trump succeeded in getting the optics that he wanted, which was him standing alongside the Queen. But it happened to occur at exactly the same moment as the Deputy Attorney General announced that 12 more Russian officials would be indicted on charges of hacking into the Democratic National Committee. So interesting, really. Some people felt that the US networks were wrong to cut into the coverage of his visit to the Queen. But yes, those happened at exactly the same moment, many questioning whether that was a deliberate attempt to really outshine Donald Trump's great moment in the spotlight. Of course, this all comes on the back of that interview that he gave to The Sun newspaper, a tabloid conservative newspaper in the UK, which really did put the cat amongst the pigeons, as the English like to say. May has wrecked Brexit. US deal is off. Now, he was slightly less emphatic than that when you actually look at the full transcript of what he said, but essentially, definitely, he was not pulling his punches, and Theresa May will not have been enjoying reading that article that came out very late last night, actually as she was having dinner with Donald Trump. One of the most British responses I've seen to this comes from Sam Gyimah, the MP. "Where are your manners, Mr. President?" As though being a guest in the country meant that he really shouldn't say anything bad about us right at this moment in time. A lot of other people have been taking to Twitter. Love Actually has been trending a great deal on the UK Twitter site. And you might wonder why. It's a pretty old movie, but lots of people felt that Theresa May should take inspiration, really, from Hugh Grant's character in the movie, which, if you haven't seen it, you probably should have done by now. I think everybody maybe has. Hugh Grant plays a delectable but rather bumbling British Prime Minister opposite Billy Bob Thornton, who's a rather bullying US character. Lots of people saying things like this. A lot of Brits waking up this morning to Trump's Sun interview and hoping Theresa May steals a few lines from Hugh Grant in Love Actually, calling the American president a bully, and then doing this, because it's probably the most famous scene in that movie is him dancing around number 10 Downing Street. This Twitter user says, "There's one way to deal with an American president who pulls this kind of thing on your soil." And this to, just in case you haven't seen it, an idea of what Hugh Grant says. "We may be a small country, but we're a great one too. The country of Shakespeare, Churchill, the Beatles, Sean Connery, Harry Potter." Now, BBC Three has come up with its own way of putting Theresa May into the role of Hugh Grant's role in Love Actually. We've got a clip of the video. Take a look.
"A friend who bullies us is no longer a friend. And since bullies only respond to strength, now onward I will be prepared to be much stronger. And the president should be prepared for that."
So there you go. Strong words from Theresa May. We didn't actually see anything like that, of course, in reality. Some people wondering whether perhaps that would have done wonders for her popularity because she is struggling at the moment. Other people asking whether there's more similarity between their relationship and The Handmaid's Tale. Of course, what made this slightly inevitable, the comparison, is the fact that she did wear that red dress for the dinner last night, and lots of people sharing images where they've added that now very well-known iconic sort of hat that covers the face and the eyes. And of course, many people now referring to her as of Donald. Of course, the role there very much women have no rights in The Handmaid's Tale, and lots of people seem to think that that is how Theresa May is being viewed right now.
OK, all right, well, thank you very much indeed for today's edition of Media Watch. Emma James. Bye.